Lesson 1, Microalgae Types. At the end of today's lesson, you should be able to identify the four main types of phytoplankton: cyanobacteria, diatoms, coccolithophores, and dinoflagellates. State the classification of each type of phytoplankton. Here's an example. And lastly, you should be able to name one unique fact about each type of phytoplankton. In order to achieve this, you will be completing the following activities. So on the slide, there will be lots of images and information that you can use. So use these images and information to complete the summary worksheet. On the summary worksheet, you will have to name the type of phytoplankton, state the domain and the kingdom as its classification, and say how it is important to the world, marine science, ecosystems, etc. So just to recap the classification from last term, your domains are prokaryotes and eukaryotes, and the kingdoms are these 5 kingdoms, 7 kingdoms, and the ones that have been highlighted in blue, those are the ones that we are going to focus on in today's lesson and where our phytoplankton come from. Alright, so first up from the domain prokaryotes and the kingdom bacteria comes our phytoplankton cyanobacteria. Recent research has shown that they are widespread in marine ecosystems. They are among the oldest organisms in the fossil record. This is significant as they are believed to have been responsible for adding the oxygen to early Earth's atmosphere, which enabled other forms of life to evolve. They are too small to be collected by consumers, those are other animals in the food chain, so instead they play a more significant role in the microbial nutrient loop, providing nutrients to the rest of the food chain. Alright, so moving on to our eukaryotes and the kingdom Chromista, we have diatoms. Diatoms are single cells with glass walls or silica walls, and separating the two clear walls is what is known as a fristule. So the fristule consists of 2 closely fitting halves or valves, and these animals, when they reproduce, they basically split themselves into 2, and they keep reproducing like this, splitting, and eventually the mass of all of those glass silica walls weighs all of them down, and they sink to the bottom of the ocean floor. Layers and layers and layers form on top of each other, and this is known as siliceous ooze, which is a silica-rich mud. We will talk more about this later. Here are some other images of diatoms where we can see the nice glass silica walls. Alright, so thirdly, we have the coccolithophores. They are also from the same kingdom, kingdom Chromista. They secrete these shields that are made from calcium carbonate, which form their cell walls. So these shields is what enables them to be found closer to the surface of the sea, where they have access to brighter white light. And these shields reduce the amount of incoming light, so that protects them. And this allows them to be in the upper areas of the ocean, whereas other phytoplankton may not be able to deal with that intense light, high light intensity. So that gives them a unique area to live in where they have no competition with other phytoplankton. Calcium carbonate is also known as chalk or limestone, so these white cliffs are made up of millions of coccolithophores. Right, next up from the kingdom Protista are dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates are single cell, and now they have 2 flagella in their cells, which allows them to move up and down the water column. We've seen them before when we looked at red tide. So because of their color and when they bloom in large numbers, they form this reddish color. And that is where you can see here, red tide. Some of them can be harmful, all right? So depending on the species, we've spoken about this with the lobster walkout, they have toxins in them and they can harm other animals as well as humans. And some of these are bioluminescent.